So the title of the presentation is Pricing Your Consulting Service as a Solopreneur to Maximize Your Profit Without Working Your Fingers to the Bone, because we want to have some life as well as work. So your pricing, this is something I learned the hard way. Your pricing will never satisfy everyone. So there's actually no point pricing for everyone because you're never going to satisfy them anyway. Some people are, this seems quite harsh, but some people are habitual cheapskates. They want the lowest price. That's their first priority. Some people want everything for free. At least the habitual cheapskates, they want to pay a low price. Some people don't want to pay any price. They want everything for free. Some people want to pay, but will expect above and beyond what they paid for. So they'll pay for a $50 workshop, but they will expect the value of a $1,000 workshop, which is not going to work. And I guarantee, no matter what field you work in, you will come across these types of people. So do not price your service for these types, because you'll end up frustrated, overworked, and more importantly, your client won't get the transformation they came for. So you waste your time, and your client also wastes their time and their money, and everyone loses. Just a little bit about me. That's me, smiling and looking happy. I'm a pharmacist by training. I own 2 other YouTube channels as well as this one, with over 40,000 subscribers combined and coming up to 5 million views across the 2 channels. I also own a supplement brand. I've got 2 active niche websites, one in the watch space. I sell watches for some reason, but it's working out well. I've had a consulting side business since 2022 in the hair loss space. Peak season, that business brings in a good 4 figures per month. So imagine what an extra 1 or 2,000 per month can do for you. That could probably cover the bills, that could pay for the fixing the car, that could pay for so many other things. So it's a very handy side income to have. Everything I share in this series of presentations 100% based on experience. I'm not going to share a single thing that I haven't done or experienced myself. Now let's go through the main pricing strategies. The one you pick will depend on your field and you, but we'll go through them anyway. The first one is hourly. The second one is project based. The third one is tiered packages. We'll go through all these and explain what they mean. And the fourth one is a kind of a value based pricing. Now so this is easy to explain. You simply charge for every hour you consult with the client. What to charge per hour? Okay, so some people use different strategies when it comes to this. Some people say they just charge double or triple what they get in their day job. So if they get paid, I don't know, $30 per hour in their day job, when it comes to consulting, they charge $90 or $100. They just aim for 3x or 2x. That's a plan. Some people, they charge what is industry standard. So they look at their industry and what other consultants who do the same work, similar work to them do, and they charge that. That's another sensible plan. Whatever you choose, don't forget to allow yourself a decent profit margin after taxes. So you're going to pay overheads, you're going to pay your taxes, you're going to pay all these things are going to come out of your bottom line. So make sure you account for this and leave yourself a margin, a decent margin for profit. One way to price your consulting projects is to use project-based pricing. So this is basically you charge a set fee for the whole project. Very, very simple. The pros for this, in my opinion, is very simple. It's certainty for the client and you, but there are some cons. And the main con is there's a huge potential for scope creep. Scope creep is basically when you agree to do a project for the client and then the scope of the project keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And you're not getting any kind of extra payments for it. This is what we call a scope creep, and it's a massive issue with this strategy. The third type of pricing is tiered packages. This is all over. If you are in the online marketing space, you'll see this all the time because it's quite a favorite of theirs. And as an example here, this one I pulled out of ClickFunnels, and you can see they have a basic price of £127 per month, and then a pro 157, and then top tier 208, the funnel hacker. You get more features the further you go to the right. you get more features with these packages and more scope. And this is another way to price your services. So the concept of this tiered package is you offer various options from affordable to premium. So this is, for example, here, this is the most affordable package and this is the most premium package. And the idea behind this is that it leaves room for people with different budgets to consult with you. So it doesn't only cater for one group of people. This is the one I used initially for my own consulting business, but I stopped using it in the end, and I'll go into the reasons behind that a bit later. The fourth type of pricing strategies is a value-based pricing, and personally, this is the one I like the most at the moment. So this is when you charge based on how much value you are bringing to the client. So let's explain what that means. For example, if you do a good job, the client will generate an extra £100,000 this year. So if you do a good job for the client, you'll get an extra 100,000. Okay. How much should you charge the client? They're going to make £100,000. Sorry, $100,000 if you do a good job. Let's look at it from the client's point of view. Would the client mind if you charged them $10,000? They're making 100,000. Would they mind if you charge them 10% of that, which is 10,000 US dollars? My answer would be absolutely not. I would say 99% of clients would say, yeah, I'll take that deal any day. So it is crucial you have a deep understanding of your client during onboarding, because if you don't have that, this information here at the top, if you have no idea how much what your service means to the client in terms of their profit margins and how much money they're going to make, you can't really use this pricing strategy. So this is why you should always be digging into the reasons behind why the client wants to consult with you. What do they have in mind? How much money are they likely to make if you do a good job? And then you base your pricing on this.
This channel is dedicated to helping professionals and experts generate an income online using the skills and expertise they already have. So, if you are a professional or an expert and you want to claim your slice of the online money pie and break free from the corporate 9-to-5 grind, subscribe and click that bell icon. Let's get back to the video.
The question is, which strategy is right for you? So this will depend on a few things. It will depend on your niche. So if you work with executives versus with students, then your pricing is going to be different for obvious reasons. It will depend on your field of work. So whether you work with people, as in customers, face to face, or you work with businesses, B2C as opposed to B2B. The extent of your expertise. Do you have 5 years of experience in your field, or do you have 30 years of experience having created multiple companies, successfully exited? Obviously, you're going to charge a lot more. So I can help you decide on the right strategy in my coaching program, because people watching this video, you'll have different fields and expertise. So it's really important you come up with the right strategy, and this is something I can help with. By the way, if this all sounds good and you want to be part of my coaching program and you want to really take this seriously, then I'll leave the links and the information and the current pricing of my coaching program down in the description. Talk about terms and scope. This is really, really important, absolutely vital. This should detail exactly what the client should expect, your terms and scope, or called terms and conditions. You need to have this signed for every client before you start doing any work. I don't start doing any work until I have a signed terms and conditions and scope document in my hand from the client. So there are some crucial elements you need to include in this. You need to include deliverables, exactly where it's going to be delivered. You need to include timescale, how long it's going to take. You need to include refund terms, when you're going to refund the client. And obviously, you're going to include some sort of an NDA or confidentiality clause. Let's talk about how you're going to collect payment, because this is relevant to pricing. So you can collect everything up front. This is very rare. I think if you are hugely experienced and you have a massive track record, then maybe you can get away with this. But in my experience, it's quite rare. you can collect it in a staggered way through the project. So you collect a little bit at the front, a little bit in the middle, and a little bit at the end. Some people do 30% at the beginning, 30% at the halfway milestone, and 30% at the conclusion of the project. This is most common in my experience. Or you can do something called performance related pay, which is less common. Basically, you get paid maybe a small deposit at the beginning, but then the rest of the payments are dependent on you delivering certain performance targets. Or you could do, this is something some consultants do, once they've established a relationship with a client, they do a monthly retainer. So the client pays you a certain amount monthly and you continue to do some work with them. So my recommendation is get paid something at the start. This is my only recommendation that goes across to everybody, no matter what your field, what your expertise, just get paid something at the start. This will help with your cash flow, especially at the beginning, and it will help with your morale. People don't like working for nothing. It will just sap your energy and your morale. So get paid something at the beginning. In some cases, in some fields, performance related arrangements make a lot of sense. And I cover this in depth in my coaching program. Let's address a slightly controversial topic. Should you hide your pricing? It's a weird question. But some people do actually say you should hide your pricing on your website or on your social media because it might scare some clients who would otherwise come and work with you. I strongly disagree, and here is why. I want my pricing to repel the wrong clients. Okay? I use my pricing as a gatekeeper. I want it to repel the wrong clients. I spent hours talking to a client only for them to hightail it when they see my pricing. That's worked really well for me, is revealing the price in such a way that it is obvious but not explicit to the last decimal. Okay? And I cover how to do this extensively in my coaching program. Discuss another controversial topic, which is, what do you do when the client asks for a discount? What should you do? Usually your answer might be different, but my answer through experience is no. I don't do discounts. Why? Generally, I think discounting devalues your service in the eyes of the client. And this is the main reason I don't do it. Always, this discounting sets a precedence for more demands in the future. So they demand a discount, you give them a discount, and then they'll demand you do more work, or they'll demand you do X and Y and Z. So this is basically the start of more demands. But there's a way you can answer this question. Give your client the discount they want, and you get something incredible in return. And this is what has really worked incredibly well for me. And I cover this in more detail in my coaching program. Here's another interesting topic or question. My view on giving free consultations or discovery calls. Discovery calls are basically another form of free consultations. This is a lot of consultants advocate this, but I differ. Generally, I don't do them. I don't do free consultations or discovery calls. I have other ways of collecting the information I need, so I don't do them. But there are some scenarios, for example, in a B2B consulting service where you are consulting with companies, where these kind of discovery calls do make sense because you genuinely need to collect information that would be very difficult to collect on paper. Okay, so where you and the client genuinely need to assess if you can work together on a complex project, like with a B2B situation, then they do make sense. But generally, I don't do them. So why don't I do these free consultations or discovery calls? Remember, I'm in the B2C space, so I'm consulting with people. I'm not consulting with companies. So in your case, might be different than me. Okay, so the reason I don't do them is, in my experience, these kind of discovery calls, it is every tire kicker's favorite gateway to waste your time. So this attracts so many time wasters and tire kickers. I stopped doing them. I did do them at the beginning, but I stopped doing them. And basically, I also think this is a tactic some people use to get free advice. Okay, these discovery calls. They will come into the discovery call and they will have a million and one questions and they'll want to do it for 2 hours. So it's a tactic for them to get some free advice. And people are very smart. What they do is, even if you put a website and you put a book a consultation link on the website, and you direct them to where they can pay for this, they will skip all that and they will go and find you on social media and send you a DM straight on social media. They just completely ignored where you have the payments and the terms and conditions and your bookings, and they've gone straight to your social profiles to get hold of you. Very, very smart and very resourceful people. What they do is they'll just go straight to the contact you page or on your website and contact you that way. Or they'll just message you on social media and ask for your personal email. They just want to bypass anything that requires them paying for your time, and they want to go straight to you. Something else I learned, and that is your faith in your pricing will be tested. So you'll set a price, and then you'll find yourself questioning if it's too high or too low all the time. Because some people will come to you and say, why are you charging that much for just a Zoom call? I've had that before. Some people will say, so and so is cheaper. They will quote someone else in your industry and say, oh, so and so is cheaper. And I'm thinking to myself, so why have you come to me then if they're cheaper? I can find this information on Google. I've had that before as well. Why are you charging so much for this information? I can find it on Google. I'm thinking to myself, so why you're not on Google? And here is something else I learned. No one, I mean, zero, no one who has ever said any of these things ever became a client of mine. No matter what I said or did, no matter what my reply was to those statements above, no one who's ever said them ever became a client, no matter what I did. Okay? So the question is, why are you wasting time with these kind of responses and these kind of statements? So the motto should be keep calm and carry on. About another tricky topic, which is refunds. What should you do with refund requests? My opinion is just do it. The cost and time of fighting a refund is just not worth it. And it could potentially lead to chargebacks, which will be hugely damaging to your merchant account that you use for collecting payments. At the outset, usually you can tell a customer is about to make a refund request. So at the outset, try and see if you can remedy the situation early on with the client. If you can't, then just do the refund and just be done with it. So far, luckily, my refund rate so far has been 0% because I have a robust assessment process where I assess the suitability of the client and I get rid of anyone who's not suitable. I have a very robust onboarding system where I have all the relevant paperwork and legal paperwork there for the client to sign, and I don't do any work until they sign them. And I cover other strategies to minimize your refund requests in my coaching program. Enjoyed this video? Obviously you are serious about growing or starting a consulting business from home. Then why not grab a cup of coffee and binge watch this entire playlist to do with starting a successful home consulting business? Go on.